The hour of convening having arrived, all members of this House will please report to the floor and take your seats. All members will report to the floor of the House at this time. Flee the anterooms. Mr. Clerk, ring the bell.
I'm going to add your notes that you have.
Okay. All members will please report to the floor and take your seats. Okay, we're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. We will begin our day today with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Today is a special day. I always look forward to our colleague, Representative Mac Jackson, doing our devotion. Mac's one of the finest people that I've had the pleasure of knowing here, and his messages always uplift me when I need it most. And if you really want a treat, you go to his church sometime in Tyndall, Georgia, and they will make you welcome, because I've been and had a great time. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you a chaplain who really needs no introduction because he is our colleague, Representative Mac Jackson of the 128th House District.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that introduction. Thank you for visiting our church, too. And I want to invite every one of you that you can feel welcome to come to Tyndall, Georgia. It's a small town, but great people there. You're always welcome to come and visit. I remember Representative Randy Nick said he was called at the last minute one time to fill in. I was called yesterday, Representative, to fill in, and it's an honor to be here to fill in. I pray for Representative Karen Bennett's presiding elder. They had death in the family, so we pray for them too. But I want to just mention a few things this morning. I remember when Speaker Ralston brought Reverend Steve Jones here to be the pastor of the day, and he sparked something in me, some things I was going through, and it just uplifted me, Mr. Speaker, when he came that day. And I want to read from the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verses 21 and 22. And it says, "Then came Peter to him, Jesus, and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto you until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. You see, Peter was trying to find an excuse, like most of us, to hold on to unforgiveness in his heart. But Jesus wouldn't let Peter find a reason to hold on to unforgiveness. Someone once said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. We find the story. We find the story of Joseph in Genesis 37. And as many of you remember, Joseph had a dream, and Joseph's brothers hated him because of the dream. They sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And later he was sold into the house of Potiphar. But because he held on to his integrity, and he would not allow bitterness to enter into his heart. So we find in Genesis 39, it says, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and his master saw that the Lord was with him." Because of his heart, what he had in his heart, he wouldn't let bitterness enter in. He wouldn't let unforgiveness enter in. And the Lord honored what Joseph did. Even though he was sold, he was hated, the Lord stayed with Joseph because he held on to his integrity. And through all of Joseph's trials and tribulations, he finally interprets the dream of Pharaoh. He was promoted to the position of ruler over Egypt. He was in second command under Pharaoh in Egypt. And when his brothers found out that Joseph controlled everything in Egypt, they thought that Joseph would hate them. So they came to Joseph, and Joseph told them something that's very important. He says, "Fear not, for am I in the place of God? You meant evil against me, but God turned it into good." You see, when you hold on to your integrity, when you refuse to hate, when you refuse to let envy and strife and malice and bitterness enter in, God honors that. And through the trials, through the tribulations, and they will come, but God will bring you into your destiny if you just hold on to God's unchanging hand. So Joseph had to forgive everyone who meant evil against him, because Jesus said in Mark 11:25, and when you stand praying, and that's what we're getting ready to do, he said, when you stand praying, forgive, if you have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father, which is in heaven, forgive your trespasses. Ladies and gentlemen, don't drink the poison of unforgiveness, hoping the other person dies. It'll stop you from reaching your destiny, because God has a plan for your life, and only He can bring that potential into fruition if you'll hold on to God's unchanging hand. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for your grace and mercy, because without your mercy and your grace, we would not have woke up this morning. So because this is the day that you have made, we will rejoice and we will be glad in it. Father, I choose to forgive beforehand. Even though trespasses might be done, we choose to forgive beforehand in the name of Jesus, Lord. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your grace. We ask for your wisdom, your leading, your guidance. Bless the speaker of this house, Father. Let him know, Lord God, that you're still with him. Bless our governor. Bless the lieutenant governor. Bless this General Assembly, Father, and let them know that the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, Lord. We thank you, we praise you, and we honor you. In Jesus' name, amen. Would you join me in the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Always good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Members may greet the chaplain in the South Anteroom or at his desk. Chair recognizes Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has read the Journal of the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I don't know how this happened, that the pastor of today sort of took the thunder out of what I got to say. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
I think you waited till he gave his message and then just wrote that down.
Say anything about a grudge?
Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, 159 moves following be established as the order of business in the first part of the period unanimous consents. Instruction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Chair wants to point out that with great pride that today is Leadership Gilmer County Day here at the Capitol. We got a large group from the Apple capital of Georgia and my hometown, and I'm very pleased to have them here. They'll be around the Capitol throughout the day. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1340 by Representative Werkheiser, the 157th. The bill be titled Act to Amend and Act to Provide a New Charter for the City of Glenville.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1341 by Representative Camp, the 131st. Bill be titled Act to Amend and Act providing for the election of members of the Board of Education of Pike County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1342 by Representative Parsons, the 44th. Jones, the 25th. Dempsey, the 13th. Clark, the 147th. The Carpenter, the 4th. Bill be titled Act to Amend Code Section 4883. The official code of Georgia annotator relating to exemptions from sales and use tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 1343 by Representative Clark, the 147th, Hitchens, the 161st, Williams, the 168th, Belton, the 112th, Lumsden, the 12th, and others. Bill being titled Act to Amend Code Section 38.2, 151 of the official code of Georgia annotator relating to general duties.
Defense and Veterans Affairs.
House Bill 1344 by Representative Clark, the 147th, Hitchens, the 161st, Williams, the 168th, Belton, the 112th, Lumsden, the 12th, and others. Bill be titled Act to Amend Code Section 45.2.9 of the official code of Georgia annotator relating to state agencies.
Defense and Veterans Affairs.
House Bill 1345 by Representative Clark, the 147th, Hitchens, the 161st, Williams, the 168th, Belton, the 112th, Lumsden, the 12th, and others. Bill be titled Act to Amend Article 3, Chapter 2, Title 38. The official code of Georgia annotator relating to personnel in relation to military affairs.
Insurance.
House Bill 1346 by Representative Ballinger, the 23rd, Martin of the 49th, Thomas the 21st, Smith of the 18th, and Holcomb of the 81st. Bill be titled Act to Amend Article 2, Chapter 6, and Title 15. The official code of Georgia annotator relating to clerks of superior
Judiciary.
courts. House Bill 1347 by Representative Belton, the 112th. The bill be titled Act to Amend Chapter 31 and Title 36. The official code of Georgia annotator relating to corporation and municipal corporations.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 1348 by Representative Rich, the 97th, Green, the 151st, McLaurin of the 51st, Couch the 50th, Cooper the 43rd, and others. Bill be titled Act to Amend Chapter 12 and Title 16 in the official code of Georgia annotator relating to offenses against public health and morals.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 1349 by Representative Ridley, the 6th, Rhodes, the 120th, Corbett of the 174th, Burchett of the 176th, and Watson of the 172nd. Bill be titled Act to Amend Code Section 27.1.3, the official code of Georgia annotator relating to legislative declarations.
Game, Fish, and Parks.
House Bill 1350 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Scoggins the 14th, Connery 8th, Gravely the 67th, Administration the 104th, and others. Bill be titled Act to Amend Article 1 of Chapter 5 of Title 53 of the official code of Georgia annotator relating to probity of wills, trusts, and administrative and
Judiciary.
House Bill 1351 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Hatchett of the 150th, Newton of the 123rd, England of the 116th, Burns of the 159th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 4, Title 49 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to medical assistance, Medicaid assistance generally.
Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care.
House Bill 1352 by Representative Smith, the 133rd, abstration of the 104th, Stevens, the 164th, and Green in the 151st. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 12 of Title 44 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to disposition of unclaimed property.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1353 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th, illustration the 104th, Cooper the 43rd, Oliver the 82nd, Jones the 25th. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 6, Chapter 7, Title 17, the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to issues of insanity and mental incompetency in pretrial proceedings.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1354 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st, Houston of the 170th, illustration of the 104th, and Hughley of the 136th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4, Chapter 5 of Title 28 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to Claims Advisory Board.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1355 by Representative Dempsey the 13th, Cooper the 43rd, Trenton the 85th, Gamble the 15th, Newton of the 123rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 41 and Title 31 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to lead poisoning prevention.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 1356 by Representative Wen of the 89th, Shannon of the 84th, Clark of the 108th, Oliver of the 82nd, Bernal of the 77th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to primaries and elections generally.
Special Committee on Election Integrity.
House Bill 1357 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Gamble of the 15th, Dubnik of the 29th. Bill be entitled an act to amend Code Section 22-984 relating to the Professional Standards Commission's authority.
Education.
House Bill 1358 by Representative Ballinger, the 23rd, Powell, the 32nd, Jaspers, the 11th, Bonner, the 72nd, Moptahana, the 17th, and others. Bill be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 3 of Title 12 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions regarding parks and historic areas.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 1359 by Representative Powell, the 32nd, Jaspers of the 11th, Lever to the 33rd. A bill be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to primaries and elections generally.
Special Committee on Election Integrity.
House Bill 1360 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Martin of the 49th, Guthrie of the 8th, Hawkins the 27th, Tarver of the 2nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 48 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to revenue and taxation.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 1361 by Representative Leverett of the 33rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 9 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to civil practice.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 84 by Senator Albers, 56, Harper the 7th, Robertson of the 29th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 17, Title 47 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
Senate Bill 316 by Senator Anna Duarte of the 31st, Strickland of the 17th, Robertson of the 29th, Payne of the 54th, Miller of the 49th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 5 of Title 16 the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to stalking.
Education.
Senate Bill 341 by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Watson of the 1st, Burke of the 11th, Huffstetler of the 52nd, Howe of the 48th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 46 and Title 33 the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to prior authorization of health care services.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Bill 364 by Senator Tillery of the 19th, Brass of the 28th, Dugan of the 30th, Cowser of the 46th, Hatcher of the 50th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 1 of Article 2, Title 36 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions relative to telephone service.
Judiciary.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1329 by Representative Mathis of the 144th, Bentley of the 139th, Cameron of the 1st, Wade of the 9th, Scoggins of the 14th, and others. A bill relating to coroners. House Bill 1330 by Representative Smyrie of the 135th, Carpenter of the 4th, Stevens of the 164th, Bonner of the 72nd, Gilliard of the 162nd, and others. A bill relating to imposition rate computation, exemptions and credits from state income tax. House Bill 1331 by Representative Meeks of the 178th, Burns of the 159th, Dickey of the 140th, England of the 116th, Bentley of the 139th, and others. A bill relating to labor and industrial relations. House Bill 1332 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Beverly of the 143rd, Mitchell of the 88th, Wilkerson of the 38th, a bill relating to medical assistance generally provided as public assistance under social services. House Bill 1333 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Beverly of the 143rd, Mitchell of the 88th, Wilkerson of the 38th, Thomas of the 39th, a bill relating to justification and excuse. House Bill 1334 by Representative Gunter of the 8th, Smith of the 18th, Washburn of the 141st, Crow of the 110th, Smith of the 41st, and others, a bill relating to ad valorem taxation of motor vehicles and mobile homes. House Bill 1335 by Representative Smyre of the 135th, Hughley of the 136th, Buckner of the 137th, Smith of the 133rd, a bill relating to holidays and observances. House Bill 1336 by Representative Smyre of the 135th, Hughley of the 136th, Buckner of the 137th, Smith of the 133rd, a bill relating to regulation of hospitals and related institutions. House Bill 1337 by Representative Dukes of the 154th, Green of the 151st, Hobson of the 153rd, Moore of the 90th, Jackson of the 128th, a bill relating to homicide. House Bill 1338 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Jenkins of the 132nd, Green of the 151st, Evans of the 57th, Carter of the 92nd, a bill relating to solid waste management. House Bill 1339 by Representative Mitchell of the 106th, Robichaud of the 48th, Schofield of the 60th, Scott of the 76th, Wilson of the 80th, and others, a bill relating to state employees' health insurance and benefit plans. House Bill 1362 by Representative Perkle of the 155th, a bill to amend an act reconstituting the Board of Education of Irwin County. House Bill 1363 by Representative Bentley of the 139th, a bill to amend an act providing for the Board of Education of the Macon County School District. House Bill 1364 by Representative Nolowitz of the 42nd, Wilkerson of the 38th, Seabaugh of the 34th, Williams of the 37th, Thomas of the 39th, and others, a bill to amend an act creating the State Court of Cobb County. House Bill 1365 by Representative Perkle of the 155th and Laricki of the 169th, a bill to amend an act establishing a Board of Education of Coffee County. House Bill 1366 by Representative Bentley of the 139th, a bill to amend an act creating Board of Commissioners of Macon County. House Resolution 768 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Newton of the 123rd, Cooper of the 43rd, Williams of the 168th, Green of the 151st, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on expanding long-term care options. House Resolution 769 by Representative Smyre of the 135th, Buckner of the 137th, Hughley of the 136th, and Smith of the 133rd, a bill creating the House Resolution creating the House Study Committee on reciprocal state immunity. House Resolution 770 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Holcomb of the 81st, Williams of the 168th, Davis of the 87th. The resolution creating the House Study Committee on National Guard and Military Reserve Veterans Resources. House Resolution 771 by Representative Mitchell of the 106th, Scott of the 76th, Clark of the 108th. Resolution honoring Life Specialist Adam L. Harrell and dedicating an intersection in his memory. Senate Bill 281 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Albers of the 56th, Harper of the 7th, a bill relating to the Sheriff's Retirement Fund of Georgia. That's Senate Bill 343 by Senator Hostetler of the 52nd, Tillery of the 19th, Orrick of the 36th, Miller of the 49th, Bennett, Parent of the 42nd, and others. A bill relating to retirement and pensions. Senate Bill 352 by Senator Thompson of the 14th, Albers of the 56th, Hostetler of the 52nd, Duggan of the 30th, McNeil of the 3rd, and others. A bill relating to general provisions of professions and businesses. Senate Bill 396 by Senator Goodman of the 8th, Jones the 2nd of the 22nd, Walker the 3rd of the 20th, Harper of the 7th, Sims of the 12th, and others. A bill relating to the Georgia State Nutritional Assistance Program. Senate Bill 463 by Senator Jones of the 10th and Strickland of the 17th, a bill to amend an act providing for the election of members of the Board of Education of Henry County. Senate Bill 464 by Senator Jones of the 10th, Strickland of the 17th, a bill to amend an act providing a new Board of Commissioners for Henry County. Senate Bill 473 by Senator Sims of the 12th and Summers of the 13th, bill to amend an act to revise and restate the law relating to the Sumter County Board of Education and School Superintendent. Senate Bill 475 by Senator Lucas of the 26th, a bill to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Wilkinson County. Senate Bill 476 by Senator Lucas of the 26th, a bill to amend an act creating the Board of Education of Wilkinson County. Senate Bill 482 by Senator Anavarte of the 31st, a bill to amend an act to provide for the election of the members of the Paulding County Board of Education. Senate Bill 488 by Senator Lucas of the 26th, a bill to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Twiggs County. Senate Bill 489 by Senator Lucas of the 26th, a bill to amend an act creating a Board of Education of Twiggs County. 3 second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Jan Taggart, the 160th District Chairman of the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local has had under consideration the following bills of the House and Senate. Instructed me to report same back to the House the following recommendations. House Bill 1300 do pass. Senate Bill 414 do pass. Senate Bill 415 do pass. Senate Bill 453 do pass. Respectfully submitted. Representative Darlene Taylor, the 160th District Chairman. Representative Darlene Taylor, 173rd District Chairman of the Committee on Governmental Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Governmental Affairs has had under consideration the following bills of the House and the Senate. It has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 386 do pass. Senate Bill 387 do pass. Senate Bill 437 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 457 do pass. Senate Bill 458 do pass. House Bill 1244 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted. Representative Darlene Taylor, 173rd District Chairman. Representative John Corbett of the 174th District Chairman of the Committee on Motor Vehicles submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Motor Vehicles has had under consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 1194 do pass. House Bill 1232 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative John Corbett of the 174th District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
We are now going on to the local calendar. Going on to the local calendar, third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 1300 by Representative Holmes, the 129th, Jasper County. Senate Bill 414 by Senator Tillery, the 19th, Long County. Senate Bill 415 by Senator Tillery, the 19th, Long County. Senate Bill 453 by Senator Kennedy, the 18th, Macomb, Bibb County.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The ayes are 140, the nays are 14. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. For what purpose does Chairman Tankersley rise?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a motion.
State your motion.
I move we immediately transmit the local calendar to the Senate.
The chairman of the committee has moved that the local calendar just approved by this chamber be immediately transmitted over to the state Senate. Is there objection? Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is so ordered. We're now going on to morning orders. Morning orders. We are going to limit morning orders to 1 minute each today, so be very mindful of your time. Chair recognizes Representative Dale Washburn for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask all the Realtor members of the Georgia House of Representatives to come down and join me in the well today. And the clock's ticking. Today, we are proud to recognize the Georgia Association of Realtors that has 50,000 members in the state of Georgia. And also this week, starting tomorrow, we're going to have Days at the Dome here. And so there'll be about 700 realtors here, so you can be looking for those. There'll be some from your local community. The preamble to the Code of Ethics of the National Association of Realtors begins with these words: under all is the land. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't think of anything in American commerce that doesn't involve real estate, whether it is residential, commercial, investment, or agricultural. And all of these people and our colleagues work very hard to represent buyers and sellers and landlords and tenants. So we represent our business interest here at the Capitol, but also we are always here to protect private property rights. And so this week, when you see my colleagues down here around the Capitol, you greet them because they're all good citizens, they work hard, and they're very active politically in your community. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Jaspers for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, on your desk, you have a little card. And what this will do for you, take your phone just like you do on the Super Bowl the other night, but this will give you access to GDOT's annual summary. You know, they're required legislatively to report back to us what they're doing. This is the beautiful book that they put out, accessed by your phone. When you first open the app, skip the ads, and then you're on it. You know, this takes a lot of work, and got to meet some of these folks: Alma McConovic, Brooke Pine, Safara Raymond, Scott Higley, Katrina Lear put this together for us. So take time to look at it. There's some out here on the back, and if you need more, come see me. I'll fix you up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Anulowicz for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. Today is Junior League Day at the Capitol. You might see a lot of really motivated, informed, and indefatigable women roaming the halls of the Capitol today. Some of them might be wearing a scarf like this. They are here because they want to talk about their key priorities. They are equity, education, health, and aid and protection, particularly focused on women and children. Again, today is Junior League Day at the Capitol. I hope you will say hello to anyone you see. Don't forget, if you're newer around here, Junior League women have made an immeasurable impact on public policy here in Georgia. They are kind of like E.F. Hutton, and when they talk, I hope you will listen. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Pruitt for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have a resolution today honoring Middle Georgia State University School of Aviation, recognizing February 15th as Aerospace Day at the state capitol here. Aerospace is our state's largest international export. We are ranked 5th in the nation with roughly $10 billion annually in exports. That represents an economic impact of $68 billion. We have about 800 aerospace companies within the state, over 100,000 high-paying jobs averaging around $83,000 each. We produce about $12 billion in direct salaries. We have 3 major imperative aspects of that: aviation training within the state, aviation infrastructure within the state, and creating economic policies that foster and support economic growth. One last thing I want to leave you with is that if you and I wanted to start an airline together and wanted to go buy some jets to do that with from Airbus or Boeing, we would have to wait 15 years in order to get those jets. The aerospace industry is completely backed up right now, which is a great market to invest in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Hughley. for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. As we continue to celebrate Black History Month, I want to have us pause to remember those who, with the slogan, "I am a man," workers in Memphis, Tennessee, who sought financial justice in a strike that faithfully became Martin Luther King Jr.'s final cause. On February the 12th, 1968, 1,300 black sanitation workers in Memphis began a strike to demand better working conditions and higher pay as part of the civil rights movement. The strike also drew Martin Luther King Jr., and it led to his famous speech where he talked about going to the mountaintop. A couple of weeks before the strike, dissatisfaction reached new heights when two men, Echo Cole and Robert Walker, were gruesomely killed while on the job. So today we pause to remember those who march under the slogan, "I am a man."
Chair recognizes Representative Jasmine Clark for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. According to the Department of Public Health report that we all get in our emails, all 159 Georgia counties remain at high transmission levels of COVID-19. We're still reporting 4,000 to 5,000 cases daily, and we've had 129 outbreaks, a majority of them in our K-12 schools. Our children depend on adults to make good decisions that will protect them. They are our most vulnerable and at the mercy of the adults to make good, sound policy. And that is why I'm concerned that we would allow politics to endanger children. We cannot take an individualistic approach to public health by allowing some to endanger others. It's like allowing a person to poop in the pool and assume that everyone else swimming in it will not be affected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Holly for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm joined by my colleague, class of 1975. As I'm class of 1998, and we'd like to wish the thousands of men who call themselves Morehouse men around this nation and the world a happy Founders Week. Happy Founders Day. It was yesterday, but certainly we want to recognize for 155 years, this humble school on a red clay hill in Georgia has produced the legendary minds that have shaped movements and have become the kings of industry and in business, in the arts, and yes, even here in politics. So we thank you, Morehouse men who are unashamed, unabashed, and undaunted in contrast of the stereotypes that decry, that defame the best in our community.
Yeah, real quick, is that light me? Shut up. Before you go to college, you go to high school. And I just wanted to add to what was said, that St. Emma Military Academy, which is an all-black military school for young men that was in Virginia, and it was on top of a mountain. And on the other side of the mountain was a all-girls school, St. Francis. And the James River ran between the two of them. And the school, which I graduated from before I went to Morehouse, is now part of the Smithsonian Institute, and I wanted you to recognize St. Emma Military Academy. Thank you.
We are now going on to the rules calendar. Going on to the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 1021.
House Bill 1021 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 3328.3 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to standard non-forfeiture provisions for individual deferred annuities. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Insurance Committee Chairman Lumsden to present the bill.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I bring to you House Bill 1021. This is a bill that changes the minimum interest rate from 1% to 0.15% on early termination of insurance-based deferred annuity contracts. This is NAIC model legislation which addresses a nationwide problem with deferred annuity contracts caused by the extreme volatility that's taking place in the 5- and 10-year Treasury markets. The 5- and 10-year U.S. Treasuries are the underlying investment that makes the deferred annuity possible. The Federal Reserve does not see any improvement in this volatility in the foreseeable future, and with rates dropping on the 5- and 10-year Treasuries to less than 0.2%, the deferred annuity products will not be available going forward unless a change is made in this code. NAIC has recognized this problem and has crafted this model legislation to deal with the issue, and this only applies to the future annuities and does not impact any current contracts. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill, and I'd appreciate your favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members now voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 1021. The ayes are 153, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 1147.
House Bill 1147 by Representative Rhodes of the 120th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 3 entitled 27 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to wildlife generally so as to authorize the hunting and trapping of raccoons and opossums year-round. This bill having referred to the Committee on Game, Fish, and Parks. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the committee, Chairman Rhodes, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Williams, why are you laughing? Ladies and gentlemen, I have before you this morning House Bill 1147. This is kind of a sister step in some moves that we're making to try to improve our ground nesting wildlife here in our state. Everyone is aware of the sea turtle and the danger it's been in, but our bobwhite quail and our turkeys, our populations are way down. This year will be the first year we have shortened our turkey season, we've lowered our bag limits, and we've limited to 1 turkey a day. So we're taking steps on that side, and we think this is a step that we can take to try to help those populations. Florida and Alabama already have gone to no seasons and no limits on raccoons, and South Carolina and Tennessee have done similar measures to have year-round hunting. Mr. Speaker, that is the bill. I'll be glad to take one question.
Is this a pro-raccoon bill or an anti-raccoon bill?
That is for each member to decide themselves, Mr. Speaker.
That's an excellent answer, by the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is that the only question I need to take?
No, you have some questions.
Okay, I'll take one more.
Let's go to Chairman Hogan to your left for a question.
This ought to be good.
Do you yield?
Yes, sir, to my friend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I do.
Well,
today you are anyway.
Is the next bill you have is going to be year-round shooting my ducks?
I don't know. We're going to have to work on that.
Well, you've already threatened me with coming over and killing my ducks, and I've said to the game warden is going to be looking you up.
Well, you're not supposed to be reporting our private conversations. Mr. Speaker, I ask for your favorable consideration. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well with many, many questions pending. We do have a member that wishes to speak on the bill. Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished chairman and author of this bill. There's probably just two people left in the state to defend these critters, and that's me and the Speaker. Some of it's a bum rap. The question was asked yesterday in committee about any good things that they might have done. Now, I admit that it's kind of tough because one is a thief and the other is a liar. Somebody who knows something about them will get that after a while. There are some good points. In Waukulla, Florida, there is a monument to the opossum. Now, I'm a Gullah Geechee, and I was about grown before I knew it was an opossum. It was just a possum when I was growing up. And for those who know nothing, I know when you don't know anything about raccoons because you call them raccoons. Again, they were coons the whole time I was coming up. And I beg to differ with the chairman on a couple of points, one being the sea turtle piece. Kind of hard for a coon to find his way from Ocilla, Georgia to the beaches of Georgia. They're smart, but that's a long walk. And I've watched more seabirds eat more sea turtles in 30 minutes than any coon. And if you know a saltwater coon, he'll catch a fiddler crab, look at it, wash it off in the water before he eats it. A chicken will literally eat anything that they can get their beak on. For those of you that are not familiar, and I know the millenniums wouldn't know anything about this, and some of you won't admit it, but raccoons were quite a delicacy for many, many generations. First folk to eat them were the Indians, but they were taken to a new level of enjoyment with the African American community. Now, some of you have never experienced a baked possum, and some of you have had problems even imagining a baked coon with sweet potatoes around it. Some of you have developed a bourgeois attitude after getting out of your former circumstances. There was a time when it was not a sporting animal, but a subsistence animal. And I want you to know that my grandmother was one of the finest cookers of the raccoon in America. And so I developed a taste for it. At first, I used to tell folk that it was in honor of my grandmother, but the truth is I just liked the taste. And I'm pretty good at cooking them too. Now, I've said all that to say this. These are fine animals with few friends. They do eat a few turkey eggs, but a lot of other animals do too. They're good. Over in Alabama, I remember there was a possum farm I saw. I was working on a job over there, and this guy owned a farm where he grew possums that got up to 12 pounds. Why'd I tell you a possum is a liar? Because if you endanger him, he'll lay down and play dead. And just stick his feet up in the air. You prod him with a stick and he just gets deader. Why is a coon a bandit? Because he's born with a band on his eyes that makes him look like some of you look this morning, no pun intended. Now, folk, in all reality and sincerity, I'm supporting this bill because the chairman begs so unmercifully. And it has its good points, and I'm going to vote for it. I certainly hope you do too. And whatever you do, if you fall off your pedestal and need a meal, I'll fix you a coon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Almost lunchtime. Everybody's getting hungry after that. Okay, that's all the speakers. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. What purpose does Representative Bentley rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true, had the chairman or the other representative acknowledged me, I would have asked the question of how is hunting raccoons year-round will affect the funeral home industry? Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
I know that is true. Unquestionably true. What purpose does Chairman England rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
State
Speaker.
your inquiry.
Is it not true the gentleman was speaking as putting sweet potatoes in with a coon or the possum, either one? Is it not true that when you do that, after it comes out of the oven, you throw the possum or the coon out and eat the sweet potatoes?
You need to have a conversation with him offline over here about that. All right, we'll do one more parliamentary inquiry. For what purpose does Representative Hutchinson rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that I'm wondering if this passes, can I execute the thieves in my garage without a permit?
Well, you got the expert up here on all things wildlife and closely related. Okay, have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 1147. The ayes are 141, the nays are 17. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 664.
House Resolution 664 by Representative Green and the 151st and others, a resolution authorizing a lease of certain state-owned property located in Chatham County, authorizing conveyance of certain state-owned property in DeKalb County, Fulton County, Glenn County, Hall County, and Sumter County. This bill having been referred to the Committee on State Properties, that committee recommends that this resolution be adopted by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Gerald Green to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleagues, first of all, I want to thank Marty Smith at State Properties, and especially Frank Smith, who serves as our liaison for the committee, for all the work that they have completed. Also, Legislative Council, but mainly I want to thank the House Committee on State Properties. Your work is timeless and at the same time a very hard and very tedious job to make sure that we take care of the state's properties. You have before you this morning House Resolution, the House Resolution 664 by sub, and it is LC 540054S. And it does involve the Chatham County, DeKalb County, Fulton, Glenn County, Hall County, and Sumter County. And all of the members that are affected in those particular areas have been contacted based on what I have been told by state properties on that. And Mr. Speaker, this is our annual conveyance here, and I ask the members to give good support to this particular piece of legislation, House Resolution 664 by substitute. And
you have a couple of questions if you care to yield.
Yes, sir. I will yield.
Chair recognizes Representative Washburn to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is it not true that we deeply appreciate all the hard work of the chairman and the committee in taking care of these needed transactions?
Well, thank you for that question, and you were certainly instrumental in helping us work through a very one in Glenn County, and we really appreciated your assistance there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, there's no more.
You do have one more if you care to yield.
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Jasmine Clark to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
I'm looking at the sponsors of this bill, and I noticed that there's a property in DeKalb County that is listed in the bill, but there are no sponsors from DeKalb County. Do the people in DeKalb County also know that this bill will affect their county?
Yes, if you were listening to me just a few moments, those individuals that are affected by the resolution were contacted in DeKalb County.
So does the gentleman further yield?
Yes.
Do you mind telling me who those individuals are? Because I just spoke to the leadership of the delegation.
I'm sorry, I could not understand you.
Could you tell me who those individuals are? Because it's my understanding that the individuals in the delegation weren't.
It's the one in the district, in the area that is affected.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well and ask for your consideration for House Resolution 664.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. What purpose does Representative Carter rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that state line 33 that identifies 5290 Panola Road, Lithonia, Georgia, the portion at Panola Road is within my district?
I do not know if that's in your district or not, Representative, to be honest with you. What purpose does Representative Moore rise?
Good morning. Is it not true that I too represent that particular area and I have not been spoken with? I am right there at Panola Road in Rock Springs.
Well, you've heard the chairman talk about the notice that was given, so not sure why you didn't get information about that.
And I have not.
All right, have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Resolution 664. The ayes are 140, the nays are 18. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 683.
House Resolution 683 by Representative Green in the 151st, a resolution authorizing the grant of non-exclusive easements for the construction, installation, operation, and maintenance of facilities, utilities, roads, and ingresses and egresses on and over property in Bartow, Douglas, Fulton, Gilmer, Gwinnett, Harrelson, Paulding, Sumner, and Thomas counties. This resolution has been referred to the Committee on State Properties. That committee recommends that this resolution be adopted.
Chair recognizes Chairman Green to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I address House Resolution 683, for those that have some concerns about the previous resolution, if you'll see me, I can certainly get you some information on that particular part. You have before you House Resolution 683, which is our annual easements, and this authorizes the state of Georgia, acting through the State Properties Commission, to grant easements that is part of our state-owned properties. And you heard the list there, and you have them also in your bill or resolution before you. And this is House Resolution 683, and I ask your favorable consent on House Resolution 683. Mr. Speaker, if there's no questions, I yield the will.
You do not appear to have any questions on this one. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the adoption of the resolution. The ayes are 157, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 1223.
House Bill 1223 by Representative Martin of the 49th, being entitled an act to amend Code Section 4883, the Fiscal Code of Georgia annotated, relating to exemptions from sales and use taxes. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Martin to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, last session in Senate Bill 6, in an effort to continue to watch taxpayers' funding, this section was sunset for June 30th of this year. This is a calendar year exemption, and we need to align that date to a calendar year. So this bill simply on line 60 moves the June 30th sunset to December 31st. It extends it for the minimum amount of time it can to still allow the exemption to function properly in a calendar year. Mr. Speaker, that's all the bill does. I ask the House for their favorable support so we can align this exemption with the calendar year. I'll answer any questions.
Do not appear to have questions.
I yield well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. If all members voted, voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 1223, the ayes are 154, the nays are 6. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 1275.
House Bill 1275 by Representative Rich, the 97th and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 32 and Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to municipal courts generally, so as to revise provisions related to appointment and removal of municipal court judges. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rich to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring to you House Bill 1275. This is a bill that was requested by the Council of Municipal Court Judges and that was negotiated with GMA. They are supportive of this bill. Municipalities typically contract with individuals to serve as municipal court judges. To better ensure that the judges remain as neutral and impartial as possible, in 2016, the municipal court judges and municipalities agreed that municipalities could terminate these judges for cause only, and that these judges would be entitled to due process in that decision to terminate, meaning they needed to be provided with cause and a hearing and steps to ensure that the termination is valid. This bill simply updates our code to include the steps in the termination process and also clarifies that municipal court judges are required to be contracted for at least 1 year and that municipalities can appoint an individual to serve the unexpired term of a municipal court judge who cannot continue to serve out his term. That is, in essence, the bill, and Mr. Speaker, I will yield for any questions.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you. I request your favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 1275, the ayes are 152, the nays are 10. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. What purpose does Representative Gamble rise?
Make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that House Bill 1059 be recommitted to the Rules Committee.
Representative Gamble has moved that House Bill 1059, which is on the rules calendar today, be recommitted to the Rules Committee. Mr. Clerk, would you read the caption?
House Bill 1059 by Representative Gamble, the 15th and others to be titled an act to amend Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance generally so as to provide for exclusions to unfair trade practices and unlawful inducements.
Representative, did you mean to say Insurance Committee?
Yes, sir, I did.
I thought so. Wanted to clear that up before we voted. On the gentleman's motion that House Bill 1059 be recommitted to the Insurance Committee, is there objection? Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 893.
House Bill 893 by Representative Nix of the 69th to be entitled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 3 of Chapter 8 of Title 12 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to hazardous site response so as to extend the sunset date for certain hazardous waste fees. This bill having referred to the Committee on Natural Resources and Environment. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Nix to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this bill is probably one of the simplest ones you'll see this year. It just changed one date. The hazardous waste management fees and hazardous substance reporting fees are scheduled to sunset on July the 1st of this year, 2022. This bill would extend those to 2027, a 5-year extension. The fees raise somewhere between $1 and $2 million a year that EPD uses to monitor and clean up hazardous waste. And I would ask your favorable consideration for House Bill 893. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield if there are no questions.
You have a question, one question. Do you yield?
I will yield, yes, sir.
Chair recognizes the Minority Caucus Whip, Representative Wilkerson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're left for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is there going to be another bill that actually dedicates fees or has to deal with the dedication of fees?
I understand that they're working on that bill now. There was some question in Natural Resources about that. That is something that Ways and Means should really take up rather than us. All we're doing is extending the fee here. Mr. Speaker, with that, I will yield the well and ask for favorable consideration on House Bill 893.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 893. The ayes are 163, the nays are 1, and this bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 1044.
House Bill 1044 by Representative Perkle, 155th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 62, Title 36, the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to development authorities so as to provide for the creation of regional development authorities. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Economic Development and Tourism, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by Rules Committee substitute.
The chair recognizes Representative Perkle to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In one of the first meetings of the House Rural Development Council, we were introduced to a highly successful regional collaborative of 4 counties, those of being Morgan, Jasper, Newton, and Walton. They formed an intergovernmental agreement that provided for the sharing of expenses and, equally important, the sharing of the ad valorem tax revenues on a piece of 1,500-acre parcel that they jointly owned. None of the counties could individually undertake such an ambitious plan, but together they found a regional effort could work, and it did. It was very, very successful. This mutually beneficial framework that we saw with these 4 counties is something that we on the Rural Development Council wanted to see replicated in other parts across the state. Hence, House Bill 1044. It incentivizes and not just preaches. So economic developers often will preach regionalism. What is good for Lowndes County is also good for Eccles County and Thomas County, but we often don't act that way. And this provides an incentive or a carrot to not just preach regionalism, but to act that way. The carrot comes in Section H of the bill, which allows for the quality jobs tax credit of the lowest tier county in the regional authority and is specific to the property which is jointly owned. It's a fairly simple bill, and I ask for your favorable consideration on the Rules Committee substitute of House Bill 1044.
You do not appear to have any questions.
Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Speaker. I know
You do have a question. Do you yield?
Yes, sir, I yield for one. I know others want to speak on this bill.
Chair recognizes Representative Meeks. To your right for a question.
Thank you. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir, I will yield for a question.
We all know that the governor has been advocating for projects of regional significance. Will this not be another tool in the toolbox for those projects, and particularly in rural Georgia?
Well, thank you for the question. It absolutely is another tool, one more tool. It's not the end-all, be-all. It is one more tool that we can add to shine this bright light of economic freedom across the state. I will yield now, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Oliver to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support 1044, and I will be happy to vote for it. I have spent a considerable amount of time in the last 2 years asking questions about development authorities, and I urge you to consider asking these questions too in your local communities. 1044 moves forward to assert some rules, some guide rules on how development authorities, regional development authorities act. But I will tell you that we don't know how many development authorities there are in Georgia. Probably over 600. There are over 20 in DeKalb County, and we have no idea about how much bond debt they have issued or who the recipients are. As a matter of law, as a member of the General Assembly or as a taxpayer in DeKalb in the state of Georgia, I'm not entitled to know what the deal is that a development authority may have negotiated with a developer unless I'm the recipient of a legal notice in the newspaper that a bond validation hearing is going to happen in Superior Court, and then I don't have standing to object, only the county does. The school board doesn't have an opportunity to object, the cities don't. And in my fast developing county, there's an awful lot of conflict and litigation over competing development authorities who are competing at a very high level, privately, in secret, and successfully. This is a tool that developers and economic development promoters use successfully. It's a valid tool. It's something that enhances our opportunities economically. But I ask you to consider, please, what are the issues of transparency? What are the issues of participation in knowing the benefits or benefiting from the benefits? And I ask you to consider us have further discussion on this. I have several bills that are pending. We've had some successful hearings thus far, and I'm looking forward to more engagement and more discussion. How many development authorities are there in Georgia? How much debt have they issued? And how much tax abatements have they granted? Consider asking those questions at home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to withdrawing the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is withdrawn. Is there any objection to adopting the substitute offered by the Committee on Rules? The chair hears none. The Rules Committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. What purpose does Representative McLaurin rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
State
Speaker.
your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, if I were just a simple, friendly economic development bill, and I already had a floor letter from the Georgia Chamber, but I was trying to upgrade to a scorecarded vote, do you think it would help to just throw in some new prosecutors and cops?
I don't really think you're wanting an answer on that one. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 1044, the ayes are 165, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 969.
House Bill 969 by Representative Smith of the 18th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 13 and Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Antedated relating to insurance holding company systems so as to update the regulation of insurance company holding systems per direction from the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Tyler Paul Smith to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. I bring to you today House Bill 969. This is the Insurance Department bill, and to give you a little background, this concerns the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. The NAIC is created and governed by insurance commissioners in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 5 U.S. territories. Insurance is essentially a state-regulated industry, and it's our preference to keep it that way as we are familiar with the needs of the citizens of the state. Georgia receives its accreditation from the NAIC. The NAIC develops model laws as an organization, and each individual state passes them through its own legislature. Sometimes accreditation is dependent on one of these laws. Revisions to this, in 2020, the NAIC updated its Insurance Holding Company System Model Act in response to the 2008 Great Recession. There are a number of very technical changes. Overall, though, it provides states with more information on an insurance group's financial profile and available capital. It essentially forces insurance holding companies to be more transparent with their finances to better allow their office to assess the risk to the industry and avoid future financial disasters. Passing this Model Act this year is necessary for Georgia to maintain its NAIC accreditation. This will allow for the Department of Insurance to allow domestic insurers based here in Georgia to avoid being potentially subject to additional requirements imposed by other states where they do business or by the federal government. Mr. Speaker, that is in essence the bill, and if there are no questions, I'll yield well.
There are no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 969, the ayes are 163, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. House Bill 961 will be postponed to the next legislative day. For what purpose does Chairman Dubnik rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Senate Bill 231 be moved from the Education Committee to the Higher Ed Committee. Both chairmen are in agreement.
Clerk will read the caption.
Senate Bill 231 to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Fiscal Code of Georgia Annotated relating to elementary and secondary education so as to provide for a pilot program to allow for certain adults to enroll in charter schools.
Chairman Dubnik has moved that Senate Bill 231 be moved from the Education Committee to the Higher Education Committee. Is there any objection to the motion? Any objection? Chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Honoring the life and memory of Lieutenant Joel Ruff. Recognizing and commending Groveway Community Group and the Telling Our Story program. Recognizing and commending Black History Month. Recognizing February 16, 2022 as International Black Aviation Day, and for other purposes. That completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We have some more local bills that the chair will ask for unanimous consent for this House to suspend its rules temporarily to allow these bills to be read for the first time and assigned to committee. They will all be assigned to the Intergovernmental Coordination Committee. Is there any objection? Is there any objection? Chair hears none, and it is so ordered. We have some announcements. If you've signed up for an announcement, make your way to the front of the chamber. Chair recognizes Representative Burnow for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Women's Legislative Caucus will meet today. You can pick up your lunch in room 216 in the Capitol. The program will begin probably about 12:15. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Werkheiser for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A little bit different this week. Industry and Labor is going to meet this afternoon at 1 o'clock, CLOB 606. And if we don't get it done, we'll come back again tomorrow. So 606, 1 o'clock today. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Gilliard for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to let you know, inside of that beautiful white bag that has so much substance in it is a little plastic bag for this Thursday for the Savannah Seafood Sampler. Lots of snow crabs, low country balls, and even ghetto escargot. It's called conch. Join us 12 o'clock and 216. We'll be honored to have you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Parsons for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker.
Members of the Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee, we're going to be meeting today at 3 o'clock in 403 upstairs, and again tomorrow on Wednesday at 3 o'clock in room 403 upstairs. We have some issues in there that affect energy policy, pretty important policy issues we're going to be looking at. I need you there. These issues need a very thorough and fair hearing. Thank you, Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rich for an announcement.
The Majority Caucus will meet upon adjournment in room 403 and lunch will be served.
Chair recognizes Chairman Mitchell for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There will be a brief meeting of the House Democratic Caucus in room 605 in the CLOB at 3:30. Once again, that's a brief meeting, 605 in the CLOB at 3:30. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Green for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is for tomorrow. The State Properties Committee meeting will be in 403 at the State Capitol here. That's State Properties Committee in room 403 at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Please come. It's going to be a brief meeting, but please come. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman F. Stration for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Judiciary Committee will meet today at 1:30, full committee today at 1:30, and then we will meet again tomorrow, Wednesday, at 10 a.m., both meetings in room 132 of the Capitol. Thank you, Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the Health and Human Services Committee, please listen carefully. We will be meeting today in room 606, our usual meeting at 2 o'clock. So Health and Human Services will meet today at 2 o'clock. Listen up. We will meet tomorrow starting at 12 o'clock until 3. It's going to be our first reading of the House bill on mental health. That's the 1013, and we will be taking public comment. I have asked those who want to make comment to have read the bill to give us the page and the number where they are suggesting that we should either make it better or, delete it or whatever. So this is a very important meeting tomorrow. It will start at 12 o'clock and go till 3 in room 506. So I'll see you today in our regular 606 at 2 o'clock, and I will see you tomorrow in 506 starting at noon. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Becky Evans for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The DeKalb delegation will meet in a joint meeting with the House and Senate after adjournment, 307 CLOB in person. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lumsden for an announcement.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, there's a full House Insurance Committee tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Also, I'd like to make you aware that there will be representatives from the National Council of Insurance legislators with us tomorrow. There's a informational lunch at the Peach Room on the 9th floor of the West Tower on the Sloppy Floyd building. So join us for that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Gullett for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Governmental Affairs will be tomorrow at 2 o'clock in 406 of the CLOB. Governmental Affairs, 2 o'clock tomorrow, CLOB. Thank you.
That completes our announcements, but we have some birthday greetings to extend. 3 birthdays tomorrow. Representative Sheila Jones celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Representative Tom Kirby. Representative Holly. completes the business of the House for today. The chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February the 17th, 2022.
The majority leader has moved that this House be adjourned until Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m., Thursday, February 17 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will be adjourned until Thursday at 10 a.m.